All right. Thank you for being here until the end. We have 2 more sessions to go, but I'm really looking forward to this one because, ecosystem growth in Asia, super hard. I know a lot of people. I mean, these women are trying their best. I know in APAC, and so I wanted to get their insights. So let's do a quick round of intros before we begin. Starting with, do you want to go first, Daria?
Okay, sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Daria. Actually, just Daria. I'm still getting accustomed to actually using my Korean surname. So yeah, I'm from TRN Labs. We are a third-party accelerator for the Root Network. We are also a foundation, currently seeking fantastic and talented people to join our acceleration program. So if you know anybody who's in game dev, GameFi, similar to, please send them my way. At least I'll justify being here.
Are you based in Korea?
I am actually, yeah.
Nice, awesome. Sue?
Hi everyone, I'm Sue. I'm head of APAC for EigenLayer. EigenLayer, wow, what are we? We have done a lot of things. So we created a term of restaking, which is to leverage Ethereum e-security for new protocols that are building on top of EigenLayer. But now we're also venturing into more AI space. So we're doing, we're like a cloud, verifiable cloud. So we enable all the kind of, any blockchain proofs that needs verification that could use our operator and stake to make that happen. Yep. Oh, I'm based in Singapore.
Hi guys, I am Bora. Thank you, Erica, for having me again this year. Really honored because I've graduated EHA with Erica, and I will be joining Celestia from next week, but I'll be leading ecosystem at Celestia Labs. Really excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's define ecosystem growth in Web3. I think it differs somehow with Web2. Maybe we can compare those two, how Web3 differs in some ways, how to, can we just define that? Do you have any ideas on definitions?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, in traditional Web2 business, we usually approach ecosystem as separated unit entities, or we're approaching it as like sub-brands. When in Web3, we're actually just approaching it as different parts of the same product. Because if you look at it, in Web2, you just genuinely have products that can coexist on its own, and they're not necessarily interconnected. I mean, South Korea is a good example of that. I mean, we have conglomerates like Hyundai or LG. So all of their subsidiaries can actually exist on their own, and they have their own product offering. And like with, say, with Hyundai, they even have their own military and stuff. When speaking of Web3, it's usually something built on top of like a singular L1 or L2 or whatever other obscure tech that I cannot pronounce. So basically, we're just talking about a thing that is a living, breathing mechanism, living, breathing entity that cannot exist on its own. So you can't really have just a staking protocol or without a verifiable layer, or you can't have a DeFi vault without, let's say, having a viable community. So that's my take.
Sue?
Yeah, I think the key part that's different here, similar to what Darius said a little bit. So Web3, this whole idea of decentralization, the codes are all open sourced. Basically means anyone can use your code to build anything. So anyone who kind of leverage your code then become an ecosystem partner in a way. So in Web2, everything is closed source, it's owned by the company, all the IP rights. And yeah, ecosystem overall, it feels more like they're customers or teams that are building similar things as them. It's not really in such a direct interaction like Web3 because everything is open source, it's decentralized, so everyone can build on top of each other. So that opens a whole box of questions, which is then you have like so many different ecosystem partners. How do you identify them, find them, like keep them, make them happy, make them more active? And I think that's probably what we're gonna like touch on today is how do we really engage with all these ecosystem builder that are building in the Web3 space. Yeah.
Yeah, to add on to what Sue just said, I just think if you're not working in crypto right now, I think how you would think of it's like a very broad term, right? Like it's really hard to understand what an ecosystem does mean, but I think Sue made a term that they're like clients, they're like partners, and I also approach partners in, first of all, like if you're using for example, like if you're using the Celestia as the data availability layer, and if you're building on top of it, then you're part of the ecosystem, like the Celestia ecosystem, for example. Or like if you're just a builder, if you want to just explore what of the apps that are built on top of it, then you're also part of the ecosystems. So I think we can define it as just individual builders who are willing to explore but haven't really built something yet. They're still an early ecosystem. But if you're also like already building on top of it, then you're also a little bit more mature ecosystem partners. Yeah.
Yeah. No, good definitions. And like common mutual definitions for sure. That it's hard to define ecosystem growth. This is such a big terminology. Yes. And I would like to ask if you have an experience. You can share about an experience that you had with your project. About maybe previous project as well, about growing ecosystem in your respective community or anything that you have experienced. You can kind of refer to your previous experience as well. But maybe you want to go around. Daria, you want to start first, or Sue?
Yeah, sounds good. So I think if you're a marketer, everybody knows the incentivized side of growing your ecosystem. I actually seen somebody from Gravity and Galaxy here. Hi, guys. So, but in my opinion, growth is very different and it needs to be tailored. So if we're talking about the actual developer building and developer communities, in a way, it's such a vague term because every time I hear, oh, we need to build a community of developers, and I'm like, bruh, have you seen our docs? So outside of like just chasing people who actually code, we're also chasing people who market, we chase people who lead products, we chase founders' egos, we chase VCs on the other side. So ecosystem growth is never just about the developer or about the builder. It's always about the whole family behind them. You know, it's like in marriage, you marry the whole thing. So here it's the same thing. So in my opinion, the overall growth strategies that we're using, they need to be tailored to the ecosystem that we're in, because every single even protocol has their own community vibes and they have their own idea of what their ideal portrait of a developer or a product or a dApp or a service is. Bora chain has Bear on it and they have their own vibes, and if we're looking at the whole ETH ecosystem in a nutshell, well, it's a whole different animal. So it really, really depends on where you market, how you market, who you market to, and who you're trying to acquire. So it's never a same tactic, and I feel incredibly sad when I see the same tactics used over and over from project to project. I mean, yeah, I guess we're chasing the high-risk, high-reward crowd, but they're not everything. And to be honest, Web3 now and like Web3 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it's a very different industry. It's much more mature. So we're actually chasing much more mature level of people we're trying to engage with. But I mean, I could be wrong, but that's the feel.
Maybe in like example of what actually worked for you, maybe like share an example, that'd be great.
Yeah, for us, usually worked is a very close work with specifically with the founder teams. Because we're a third-party accelerator, for us, it's important to have a product at a stage that it can be playable even without any funding. Because we're focused on GameFi, so for us, it's a game that's fun to play, something you can basically show your mom and say, oh, do you like it? And if it's not that, and if it's not fun, all the layers of like Web3 payments and stuff, they mean nothing because there's not going to be a user who's going to enjoy what you're doing. So for us, it was, in terms of growth, it was always seeking something that is close to being ready or is already ready with a very passionate founders behind it. That's the foundation approach for us. But it can be different for other projects, so that's ours.
Any other?
Yeah, I think there are different groups, right, for a project to engage with. So community and I guess builders could be a bit different. I mean, builders are part of your community, but community could be anyone that just show interest in your project. Your Discord member, like people who log in and just say hi to each other, are also your community. So for us, the way we approach it is for builders specifically, where I think Shriram, our founder, because the fact that he's a professor, he's very, very good with students and young people. So he actually is very hands-on in terms of a lot of the idea generation process. So we'll be going to hackathons. We're co-sponsoring the Build Asia hackathon as well. So we'll be going to hackathon, meet the potential builders. A lot of the builders might have some idea or completely no idea, but they just feel like they're interested. Then we will participate in the idea generation process with them. So really hands-on on shaping kind of what idea we think could make sense for this specific team. So we have kind of hands-on incubated a few teams like that is very robust in our ecosystem that comes out of this hackathon engagement. Another way that we engage, which is just more mature projects. So a lot of projects already exist, but they show interest. They want to leverage one of our like technology. Then those usually, you know, we have a whole BD team that will like talk to them, teach them how do we build together. So that's how we engage on the builder side. And then like for grassroots community, maybe people who are your token holder, who are just your enthusiasts, love to like see your product. Those have a different approach, which is, you know, we will host these small like community hangouts regionally. We're actually expanding, so we are gonna launch like ambassador program for Korea for the whole APAC market. So we'll share I don't know if there's a link, but we'll share the link. So wanted to really be regional, host some like offline meetup for these people to talk about what's happening in their life and why they're interested in EigenLayer. I think those in-person touch is very important, and then we'll host like events for them to participate in as well at any conference. So that's kind of the 3 different ways we approach the ecosystem partners as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love Suryam. He's
Me
great. Yeah, I think I was mostly on the Cosmos ecosystem. I worked at Kepler Wallet before and on the Cosmos Hub. And how I got really interested in the ecosystem was, you know, you really never know who you're gonna meet. I just through Hacker House when it was 2023 during KBW, and there were like some sponsors that wanted to participate, and we would just like told them like, hey, build whatever you want, and the results were amazing. And after the hackathon, they were like, hey, we're still building this product. Could you guys like give us a grant? And some of them are still building that, or some people they're like, oh, like after using the stacks, I'm more interested in these tech stack. I want to keep using it and contribute to the ecosystem, and they're still my good friends, right? So I just think these experiences, just like, you know, it's just making the dots and making them like connect through, like, you know, between each dots. That's like the beauty of ecosystem, and yeah, I guess that was the most fun experience that I had. So that really makes me excited.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like I build my ecosystem individually through my personal brand. So it's like, but also help founders build their founder network amongst themselves as well. So I guess that's also part of ecosystem growth within the founder ecosystem, I guess. There's so many groups that it's really hard to define, really. And for me here as well, like we're building also ecosystem growth by having a SheFi connection, common group as well. So this is also community growth, ecosystem growth. So it all can combine together and create synergy effects as well. Yeah, it's really, you know. And also Asia as a region, it's very, I mean, all of you are based in Asia, focused on Asia, APAC region. I know Asia as a whole is really hard to also lump in like, all Asian countries are different. Like I always roll my eyes when people ask me like, oh, and how's Asia as a whole? I'm like, dude, like Asia, there's East Asia, Southeast Asia, there's in Northeast Asia, right? It's like all different. China, Japan, Korea, they all think it's the same, but it's really, really very, very different. So, but yeah, it's a very generic question. But maybe from a specific region in Asia, maybe you can focus on that too. But how would you say like tackling Asia or your specific region is kind of different or distinctive compared to other regions like, you know, more Western? Is there any difference? Is there any? Just curious.
There is definitely a lot of difference. I'm in a bit of a unique situation given that I'm like from Eastern Europe and I moved to Korea a few years ago. And I can tell you it is incredibly different because interpersonal connections that are crucial here in Korea and in Japan and in China and also quite a lot in Southeast Asia, you can't really compare that to what you'll have in Europe. In Europe, you can be total strangers and you can build things and people will trust you. Well, if you come here, it's quite a lot of something that's like up in the air. You can never put your finger quite on it. Korean nunchi, I would say. And I would say it's very universal for most markets here. So whenever you're entering new market, let's say Vietnamese market, you need to have a local rep. Same goes for China, same goes for Korea, Japan. It's a big struggle for Western companies to actually come and market here for that exact reason, because the lack of understanding of the context is definitely not going to be good for them. And I mean, we've seen some cases in like traditional marketing here, so it's quite different, incredibly.
I mean, the importance of having local representative is crucial, and I think I mean, having like, I understand your perspective. There's a layer of content penetration there. I mean, I think in Chinese it's 관시, right? 관시, and Korean, I don't know how we call it. 뭐라 그러죠 한국에서는 그 관계 아무튼 우리만의 관계 학연 뭐 이런 like 뭐지 아무튼 그런 connection 때문에 it's definitely more powerful than like having outsider come in trying to penetrate. It's like definitely there's a bar there, right? Yeah, that's a very good point. Sue?
Yeah, no, I had so many thoughts on this because when I was hired, I was the first APAC hire. Finally, we hired recently someone in Korea, so I'm happy about that. But exactly what Erica said, they just look at me, great, so you're gonna be head of APAC and you're gonna do everything in Asia for us. And I go, I only speak Chinese, and Japan and Korea, like all the Southeast Asia countries speak different languages. Every single country's regulation is different. Have you thought about that? It was basically I have to spend a long time doing some internal education to really educate my team because they're all US based about what exactly APAC looks like, what each market's strengths and weaknesses are. And then I don't have anyone back then to help me expand the market. So what I did was to leverage a lot of our ecosystem partner. So we had a lot of builders projects that are based out of Asia in different regions that are, helping us to raise the awareness of our project on the ground. So we were very lucky to have them. And then we have, in Korea, we have a few validators that, work closely with us. So I think like finding some trustworthy partner on the ground that can help you be the boots on the ground to increase the awareness, to kind of source the information you need is very important when you don't have the headcount, for example, to hire in APAC. So that's one thing we did. And another thing is, I think really figured out what your project needs to do at the point in time. You don't need to target all APAC market all at once. Different stage of your project needs different support from each region. I would say the same for even other region as well. I think outside of Asia, for example, just taking retail market as an example, Chinese, Korean traders are very, very active, and we know that. But for example, Europe side, or other region, Turkish traders are also very active. But do you really need this trader if you're still in the building stage, you don't even have a product? Not really, because these guys don't care about the tech. They care about your token. They care about the price. So maybe not a time to engage those parts yet, but you could engage with the underground builders, see who's building project with you. So I think being very specific on the timing, being very specific on what you want to achieve, and also have underground representative, either through your own hire or ecosystem partners. I think these three ways are how I approach it, and I hope that's helpful for everyone here as well.
Well, I think these are really, really good takes. I think the two main mistakes that projects make is, first of all, they just think Asia whole, like they just hire an APAC lead, say, hey, take care of this Asian market, you do your thing, like, and if you don't do it, you're not good, right? But we have different languages, different history, like Korea got conquered by Japan, like other countries have this, and regulation, of course. You know, Japan's more conservative, even than Korea. I heard Vietnam, if you just talk about crypto, like the police comes to you and they just like kick you out, for example.
Scary country.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, right? Like Biddle was also in like Ho Chi Minh, and like, but Singapore, like the reason Singapore really is now the crypto hub is because, you know, like there's less regulation, so a lot of, they encourage people to build like an entity on like Singapore, and they help you like by the government. Like Thailand, for example, their builder spirit's really strong. Even like, I think it's also even stronger than Korea, because Korea's like stronger on the retail side, but like Thailand, they have like more builders, for example. So as you can see, like just even each countries are so different. So having a regional lead is important, or like at least a regional connection. But I think also the second mistakes that they make is they just don't really think about the timing. Like they just think having like APEC lead will make their tokens go up, or make them have like regional communities, and I think that's wrong. Having the right community at the right time with the right people is more important than just rushing and hiring some people in Asia and just letting them do what they need. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I've done many one-on-one calls with teams about this, hiring a APAC lead, and I'm just like, yeah, gave many warnings there as well, concerns that they have. Yeah, so really aligned with all what you said. Let's talk about some maybe skill sets, because y'all are doing growth, and I think there might be some like common skill sets that we may have. Maybe you can think of something that would be helpful for people to engage in certain roles like this, who want to like jump into this role, right? Yeah, any ideas on that?
Main skill, be resilient, because your strategies may not work, and 99% of the time they don't. So being resilient to failure, definitely yes. Having creative mind helps quite a lot. Thank God for ChatGPT as well. Kind of supplements the creativity, not gonna lie. And probably just being frugal with money and the budget you're spending. It's very tempting to go all in, spend a lot of money, guilty as charged, like just coming from experience.
That's curious. The frugal, I think that's a really good point. Like spending a wise budget, right? Is there anything that really like was worth the money? Like anything that was like.
Surprisingly, live events are always worth the money, but only if it's like specific regional and very tailored events. Like if you're very delicate with your invitee list, your partner list, live events have insanely good conversion rate.
Like good curation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. Yes. Yeah, like Biddle.
I mean, we're all here, so.
Sorry. Sue?
Skill set. Well, I think just, okay, as this role specifically for ecosystem growth, definitely extrovert people who love meeting a lot of people and not get tired from like meetings. Getting a very introverted person, I think they would really struggle. But specifically what I want to highlight is when you're sitting in this role, what you need to have. What I see like it's like different buckets of group of networks that you need to have, which really scale your ability to do well and to do well for the project as well. So I think in crypto, there's these people that I think matters a lot. You have your VCs, be friends with like, good VC that, constantly out there looking for deals, because those are the people that really day-to-day just spending on doing due diligence on people. And if they filter through and they decided to put their money with them, something is, right about that team. So being able to know that early give you a lot of edge. just use Celestia and EigenLayer as an example. It is kind of okay, it's still very different to be honest, but it's like a competitor in a sense.
Yeah.
So how do you know who's building what and be the first to reach out to the client? That gives you a little bit of edge. I would say they were still down to other consideration, but having the first, like your alpha of knowledge in the market, they're very important. So VCs are great for that. And then you have your kind of like other ecosystem growth friends. So similar like Bora to me, and then now I met Daria. So people like that will help you save a lot of trouble because there's always knowledge that they know or the market that they test out that you haven't done it yet. To learn from them really saves you a lot of energy of like going in the wrong direction. So having peer friends is very important too. And lastly, I think one other bucket I want to highlight. Actually, just people who are like super connector. Those people are a little bit kind of in a different, they're not really like working for a project sometimes, they're not like a VC. They could be just angel investor themselves, or they could be running their own thing. Oh, Erica, there you go. So knowing people like Erica is very important too, because yeah, like they can open a lot of doors for you or point to the right direction. So I think having these 3 different network groups is gonna help you scale yourself. At least that's the case for me because I'm just myself doing everything in APAC. Yeah, so that's kind of my learning here.
Both of you give a really good take. So what else is left?
We'll go with you next time first. Bora, go
Always
first.
worth your money. That was kind of fun.
I just think being curious is really important. Just curious what this person's building, what this person wants to do, and with his or her life, and then maybe this can be connected to like what your ecosystem is trying to look for, right? That's one thing. Also being proactive and like really being curious of like what the market really needs. Like the thesis in crypto is changing every week, every month. So it's really, I think it's really important to see what the trend is, what's upcoming next, what are people feeling, what's the situation, not just in crypto but also like in general market. Like now we're getting a lot of stress tests all over the world, but like kind of looking into this and seeing what people need and what are others preparing for it. So yeah, I think those are the things that we need.
Awesome. I mean, just one thing from my end. I mean, it's pretty similar, but keep an open mind when you're connecting to people. Like for me, I have no agenda when I'm talking to people. Like Sue and I, for example, we don't really have an agenda.
Yeah, I think that's so valuable because at conferences, I remember before I joined Eigen, I was doing kind of a lot of other things exploring crypto. And after I joined Eigen, when I go to conference, it feels very targeted. People will grab me, just be like, "You're from EigenLayer, right? We have this thing that you guys might be interested in." I was like, "Okay, hello, my name is Sue. You haven't even introduced yourself. I understand that you wanted to build with us, but can we get to know each other as well?" Yeah. So I think that being genuine and just actually wanted to know the other person, it adds so much, like, I guess, plus points to your first meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. So like having a first call or even like a random meeting, I don't have any agenda. I just try to get to know the person.
Exactly. I don't want anything from you.
Yeah, I want nothing from you.
Let's stop not getting to
jumping into
like the business side or like just
exactly.
asking me for a grant. That's
exactly.
a whole.
Let's get to know each other first.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we can talk about business later on. I think it's more long term than it's more healthier that way as well. And it goes much longer, like deeper relationship. I mean, you can like do a short term like deal, but then it won't last that long, I think. It's like getting to know the person and then that can last a long time.
Exactly. I think it's about also building your own brand as well. Like whenever people interact with you, they need to remember you as a person because you could be switching jobs, you could be doing new things. But if people just like come to you because of the
EigenLayer girl.
Yeah. Because we give grants. That's not really the way. Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's a good point. All right, last question. So let's give some advice to potential female founders, especially in Asia, because I know it's a hard market. It's a very hard society. Tell me about it. It's been very hard for me. But maybe some words of advice, people who want to jump into the founder, I mean, you could be potential founders too, right? Everyone could be founding their own personal brand is also a founder. I mean, for me too. So any advice to them, women out there? Yeah, let's do Bora first.
Um, we just mentioned like just like saying, hey Sue, you're from EigenLayer, right? I think this is also how our education taught us, because we are not really used to small talking in Asia, right?
We're labeled.
Yeah, we're like just go to straight like what you want, and you just like get that. I think that's also what we were taught. I was also, when I was first in meetings, I did not really know how to ask how are you to that person. So I kind of feel it. I just think like and I just think in crypto, at least, there are a lot of opportunities as a founder, and they're like, I think all the females I met in crypto, at least, they're like very nice, and because there are like not many women in the space, they just really want to help each other. So I think but a lot of my female friends, they're like less confident. They're like really talented, but they just don't think they're like good enough. But I just think they can be more confident, because there are other like fellow women who's ready to help you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Bora said about confidence and all that, it kind of goes back to what I talk about in my solo presentation about your mindset shift. A lot of time, I think we start from this, oh, I'm not 100% sure, or I'm not good enough in that area yet. I'm not ready to start my own business, even though I really want to. Is this just kind of holding yourself back? And then when you can switch your mindset being more like, I don't have 100% all the answers, but I will figure it out. And I believe that I will figure it out. Even if I fail, it's fine. I will restart and just be radically optimistic. So from observing, I'm personally not yet a founder, but from observing all my female founder friends who I respect, I think there are different kind of female founders. The one that I really, really respect have a few qualities. One is extremely optimistic. I think that's really important as a founder, because you can't be thinking all the worst case scenario, you can't go anywhere. Second thing is they embrace the feminine side of them. Because I realize a lot of the women don't realize being a woman is also an edge in a very male-dominated world. Not saying, look-wise, I'm not thinking about that, but it's more about how you resonate with your audience is very different than how a guy would do it. I think there's a lot of empathy plays a big role. I think I see that from a lot of like female founder, and highly in tune to other people's emotion, knowing how to target their audience, how to get people excited about things. Those things are also very like a specific characteristic I spot on these female founder. And I think the third part is just being very, very resilient. I think Daria touched on this. I think the third part is the hardest, because it could be a point where no one believes in you on the things that you build, but you have to believe in yourself, and you have to surround yourself with also like people that believe in you. Having a group of people surround you with like this positive energy, and then keep pushing forward. That's super hard. I haven't even had the chance to really experience what founder would do, but I've observed how the up and downs and all the things that they've accomplished along the way. It's really tough. It's a mental game. And then seeking for mentor among the founder group is super helpful, because a lot of the pain only founders would know. People who are working for a company really can't resonate the same way. So yeah, surround yourself with the right people, being very optimistic, embrace the feminine side. I think these are the 3 points I want to highlight.
Well, thank you, girls. Appreciate it. I would say have the audacity and entitlement and confidence of a mediocre white guy. Like, there's no more confident and like audacious human being than a mediocre white guy. If you can be that, you'll be unstoppable. But all jokes aside, just believe in yourself and believe in your own education. And nobody knows what is right or wrong. We just kind of figure it out and hope for the best. And get a plan B, C, D, and all the way to the Z. And you'll be fine. That's all.
Yeah, the audacity of a white guy is that's the lesson for today. Yeah, no, really appreciate the panel discussion. It was really insightful, coming from experience. Thank you so much for listening, and
you.
thank you all. Thank you so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you, everyone.